Welcome to my monthly segment of games that time forgot. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. This month I will be going over a very well made yet not very popular game called Crystalis. Let's get started. So a friend and I were talking the other day about some old SNK games from back in the days. We started throwing some titles here and there, and eventually I mentioned Crystalis for the Nintendo Entertainment System. My friend stayed quiet for a few seconds and then replied, "What the hell is that?" And that right there is why I decided to do this month's segment on this specific game right here. Crystalis is an action RPG game released by SNK back in 1990. This game also got ported over to the Game Boy Color and is now also available for modern consoles. Keep in mind, it's an action RPG game. Even though many of us who grew up during that time would like to compare it to The Legend of Zelda, both games are different in various ways. So the story is somewhat basic at the beginning as you awaken from a deep cryogenic sleep in the future to find out that mankind has pretty much blown itself into the prehistoric age. After that, you come to find out that it's up to you to collect 4 swords that can be combined into one, called Crystalis. Only then will you be able to defeat Dragon. See, right there is one of the main problems here. Don't ever name your kid Dragon, Mordecai, Lucifer, or Bob. Go with a Umberto or Lester. Ever hear of someone called Umberto taking over the world? Yeah, that's what I thought, thank you. So science was scrapped in favor of magic, only Dragon had other ideas. He decided to combine the forbidden practice of science and combine it with magic. Oh, damn Dragon. The great sages sought to combat this by reading up on old stories about a powerful mage that lived long ago but was sealed away in a cave in case someone named their kid Dragon in the distant future. They eventually found the cave, and that is where you as a player become part of the story. I love the intro here and how this guy is so freaked out that he literally is suspended midair as he notices you walk out of the cave. Now, one of the things that you will notice at the beginning of the game is that it is not a full open world title like Zelda. In other words, you can't just take off and go anywhere. Crystalis goes for a semi-open world with a slight emphasis on linear gameplay, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. So, the game is better categorized as an RPG since you accumulate experience points in order to progress levels. As you progress levels, your health and your magic points will increase. They also affect your attacking power and your defensive power. You will be doing lots of grinding in this game in order to level up and buy the necessary items and armors from the shops. This game will kick your ass if you try to rush through it. You can't. Trust me, I've tried. Grinding, it's also made more difficult by the speed at which the game runs at. Your character moves very fast. That's his default speed right there. It would have been nice if they had an option to slow him down like some shooters have to slow your ship down. Yeah, that would have been nice. His speed is accentuated by the fact that he can move in 8 different directions as opposed to just 4 like in Zelda. That part makes him a little bit tricky to control. There's going to be a lot of times when you're going to get hit by an enemy just because you are moving at a specific direction and then slightly alter it one way or the other, and the hit detection is not the greatest in this game. That will cause you to take many hits unnecessarily. Problem is, the enemies also move very fast and are very erratic in their movement, and they don't quite follow a specific path. It can be quite frustrating and annoying when you are deep within a cave or a maze-like part of the game and you accidentally touch an enemy that you were trying to hit with your sword or even avoid, and you end up getting poisoned. Or worse, killed. A lot of times I found myself without any antidotes or warp boots. That, right there, is a recipe for disaster. Always try to carry 1 or 2 antidotes with you just in case you get poisoned, and trust me, you will get poisoned. Plus, have some warp boots in your inventory at any point in time, as that is always helpful since they are able to transport you back to the last town that you visited. But don't freak out too much if you happen to die. If you select continue, the game will start you off at the nearest checkpoint. Now, combat and the menu screens is where I feel most people tend to get annoyed, myself included. This game has you utilizing the sword and their powers to break barriers and build bridges, but you will also need them to combat enemies. You heard me right, you will need them. Most games of this type have you upgrade weaponry as you progress, making the earlier weapons useless. Crystalis takes a different approach. As you travel further into the game, you will encounter enemies that you sometimes won't be able to hurt. You quickly will realize that by switching swords, that is the only way to get rid of certain enemies. Some will be vulnerable to wind, others fire, and so on. And this is where things get tedious. You are gonna find yourself going in and out of menus over and over and over again as you find yourself coming face to face with various enemies, all with different weaknesses in many tight areas. Now, to take full advantage of the swords you collect, they require artifacts to enhance their powers. Each one has 3 power levels which require charging. This makes combat even trickier in some small areas as some enemies take quite a few hits in order to be taken down. This, coupled with what I just mentioned about switching swords back and forth, might turn some gamers off out there. It doesn't break the game at all, but it's something that you have to keep in mind. Another small quirk is the item interface. You have 3 menu screens, although you only see 2 by using the select and start buttons. One brings up the status screen, where you can see what weapons are equipped, your level statistics, and other info. Pressing select brings up the list of weapons, armor, magic, and items. There's a third menu screen. See it? Of course not, it's hidden. Inside the select menu screen, you have to press start in order to access the save and load screen. It's a bit inconvenient if you just happen to rent the game or buy a used copy with no manual. It's not impossible to find, but it's just an odd way to access that screen. Also, you can't have magic and a non-passive item selected at the same time. If you do, only magic will work. If you need to use an item like, say, the gas mask right here, that won't be an issue, but if you need to use the rabbit boots to jump, you can't use them as long as you have a magic spell selected. It's one or the other. The game, like I stated earlier, is mostly linear. You have various areas, 6 in total. Each one will bring their own obstacles and challenges, but you can't advance to the next area without clearing the current one. But there is some open world mechanics confined to those areas, and each with their own towns to visit and purchase items. The NPCs for the most part are actually helpful in their dialogue. You won't get cryptic messages for the most part. Talking to everyone here is important. The music is actually really good, one of the best on the Nintendo, which is why it baffles me to no end that the Game Boy Color version scrapped the entire NES soundtrack. I don't like it. Thankfully, the version on the 40th Anniversary SNK Classic Collection is the original NES version. Now, regardless of some of the issues I mentioned here, I still recommend this game. I really do. It's a good game. It is a great, fast-paced action RPG with tons of items, magic spells, and weapons to keep you on your toes at all times. Play it if it's one of those games that you overlooked back in the day. Trust me, you won't regret it. Or maybe you just want to play it again and revisit one of SNK's most overlooked games ever. Either way, you can't go wrong. You know, I still wish SNK could have developed a sequel on the Neo Geo. That would have been mind-blowing. So that is Crystalis. I never owned it, but I did rent it a few times from my local video game store, yet I never beat it. You know what, I think it's time I changed that. So if you'll excuse me, I have a guy named Dragon that I need to talk to. Hope you enjoyed this little trip back in time. Until next video, keep watching, keep gaming, and as always, take care of yourselves.